I want to teach you something today, the way you'd build a staircase. One solid step at a time, never skipping ahead. Never rushing past a piece until it's fully steady under your feet. Because most English lessons throw 10 things at you at once, hoping something sticks. Today, we're doing the opposite. Slow, connected, logical, so that by the end, every single piece fits together and nothing feels confusing. Let's start at the very bottom step, the simplest possible sentence shape in English. Subject, then action. That's it. I eat, she sleeps, they work, he runs, we learn. 2 words, sometimes 3, and already a complete, correct sentence. I want you to say one right now, out loud, using just this shape. Pick yourself as the subject, I eat, and then any simple action. I walk, I read, I rest. However short, however plain, that's a real, complete English sentence. And it's the exact foundation everything else today is going to sit on top of. I want you to notice something important about this first step before we move on. It doesn't matter how simple this sentence feels. I walk is not a weak sentence, not a beginner's sentence you'll outgrow later. Native speakers use exactly this shape constantly, every single day, without a second thought. The goal of today's lesson was never to leave simple sentences behind. It's to add real, usable detail on top of them, without ever losing the steady, comfortable feeling of starting from something this basic. Now step 2, and notice how directly this connects to what we just did. We're going to add one more piece to that same shape, the thing being acted on. I eat breakfast, she reads a book, they watch a movie, he plays music, subject, action, and now the object, the thing receiving the action. Nothing new to memorize here, just one more piece attached to the shape you already have. Try it yourself out loud. Take the sentence you built a moment ago and add something to the end of it. I walk becomes I walk my dog. I read becomes I read the news. See how naturally that second piece slots onto the first, without requiring any new grammar rules, just one more honest detail about your action. Step 3, and again, we're not jumping anywhere new. We're building directly onto what's already steady beneath us. Let's add when. I eat breakfast every morning. She reads a book before bed. They watch a movie on weekends. One small phrase at the end, and suddenly your sentence carries real information. A full, natural detail about your life, not just an abstract example. Take your own sentence again, the one you've been building this whole lesson, and add a piece of time to the end of it. I walk my dog every evening. I read the news before work. Notice, nothing about this step required new grammar knowledge. It required only the willingness to keep adding, one honest piece at a time, onto a foundation that was already steady. This is exactly how real English sentences get built in daily life, not by memorizing complicated structures in advance, but by starting with something simple and steady, and adding one true detail at a time until the sentence says exactly what you mean. Now here's where we take the next step upward, and I want you to notice we're still moving logically, nothing sudden, nothing out of order. So far, everything we've built describes something that happens regularly, a habit, a repeated action. I eat breakfast every morning describes something true generally, not something happening at this exact second. But sometimes, you need to describe something happening right now, in this exact moment, and English has a slightly different shape for that. Here's the small addition. Instead of I eat, when you mean right now, you say I am eating. Instead of she reads, right now becomes she is reading. Instead of they watch, right now becomes they are watching. Notice the pattern, am, is, or are, followed by the action word with ing added to the end. That small addition, ing, combined with a small helper word, am, is, or are, shifts your sentence from something generally true to something happening in this exact moment. Let's slow down on exactly which helper word goes where, because this is the one small detail that trips people up if it's rushed. Only ever pairs with I am walking, I am learning, is pairs with a single person or thing. He, she, it, or a name. He is walking, the dog is sleeping, are pairs with more than one, or with you, we, or they. They are walking, we are learning, you are reading. That's the entire rule. And once you say it out loud a few times with your own subjects, it settles into place quickly because it's really just 3 small connected options, not 3 separate things to memorize in isolation. Try it with your own sentence. If you said, I walk my dog every evening earlier, now try, I am walking my dog right now, even if you're not actually doing it this second. Just to feel the shape of the sentence in your mouth. Notice it doesn't require any new vocabulary, just this small structural shift. M, is, or are, plus EM layered on top of the exact same foundation you already built. I want to pause here and explain why we're building this way, step by step. Instead of just handing you a list of grammar rules to memorize separately, when rules are taught in isolation, disconnected from each other, your brain has to store each one as a separate, unrelated fact, which is exhausting and easy to forget. But when each new piece connects directly to something you already understand, your brain doesn't have to build a new shelf for it. It just adds one more item onto a shelf that's already there. Sturdy, familiar, easy to find again later. I worked once with a careful, thoughtful student named Reese, who had studied English grammar extensively, tense charts, verb tables, all of it, and yet still felt like each piece existed separately in his mind. Disconnected fragments that never quite combined into something he could use fluidly in a real sentence. When we slowed down and rebuilt everything the way we're doing today, one small step directly on top of the last, something shifted for him surprisingly quickly. Not because the information was new. Almost none of it was. What changed was that the pieces finally connected to each other. Instead of sitting scattered, disconnected, each one requiring separate effort to recall. Reese told me something afterward that stayed with me. He said that before, learning English felt like holding a handful of loose coins. Each one separate, easy to drop, easy to lose track of. After rebuilding things step by step, connected, it felt more like coins stacked into a single steady column, still the same coins, still the same knowledge. But suddenly far easier to carry, because each one was resting on the one beneath it, instead of rolling around loose on their own. There's a reason this connected approach works better than scattered memorization, and it's worth understanding clearly, because you can't apply it far beyond just today's lesson. Your brain doesn't actually store information as a neat filing cabinet, separate folders for separate rules. It stores information more like a web, connections between ideas. And the stronger those connections, the easier anything inside that web is to find again, later, under pressure in a real conversation, when you don't have time to search carefully. A grammar rule taught in isolation has almost no connections holding it in place, which is exactly why it's so easy to forget or to freeze on right when you need it most. A grammar rule built directly on top of something you already know arrives already connected, already anchored, and stays reachable far longer. Let's take one more step up because there's a piece missing that will make everything we've built even more useful. So far, every sentence we've made has been a simple statement. But real conversation constantly needs the negative version too, saying that something isn't happening or doesn't happen. Here's the good news. This step barely adds anything new either. You just need one small word, don't or doesn't, inserted into the shape you already know. I eat breakfast every morning becomes I don't eat breakfast every morning. She reads before bed becomes she doesn't read before bed. They watch movies on weekends becomes they don't watch movies on weekends. Notice don't pairs with I, you, we, and they. Well, doesn't pairs with he, she, and it. That's the entire rule. One small word placed directly before the action. And suddenly you can say what isn't true, not just what is. This piece matters more than it might seem at first, because so much of real conversation involves correcting a misunderstanding or clarifying what isn't the case. Someone assumes something about you that isn't true, and instead of struggling to explain a complicated correction, you now have a simple, direct tool. No, I don't work on weekends. She doesn't live here anymore. Small, clear, complete, and built from exactly the same foundation as everything else today. Try your own sentence again, now in its negative form. If you said, I walk my dog every evening, now say, I don't walk my dog every evening, even if it's not actually true, just to practice the shape settling into place. Now, step by step, notice everything we've built today, all connected, nothing skipped. We started with the simplest possible sentence, subject, and action. We added an object, the thing being acted on. We added time when it happens. We learned to shift the same sentence into something happening right now. And we learned to flip any of these into their negative form. 5 small steps, and yet look at how much you can now say. Not because you memorized 5 separate unrelated rules, but because each step was built directly, logically, onto the one before it. This is the entire philosophy I want you to carry forward from today's lesson, not just for grammar, but for how you approach learning English generally. You don't need to understand everything at once. You need one steady step, fully settled, before you add the next one on top of it. Jumping ahead, trying to learn 10 disconnected things simultaneously feels efficient, but it actually slows you down because none of those 10 things have anywhere solid to attach to, one connected step at a time, and suddenly, in a single lesson, you've built something genuinely usable, something you can carry into a real conversation today, not just recognize on a page. Before we finish, let's do one final complete practice using everything from today together. I want you to build one full sentence out loud about your own real life using all 5 pieces we covered: subject, action, object, a piece of time. And if you'd like an extra challenge, try the negative version too. Take your time with this one. I don't watch movies every weekend. She's reading a book right now. Whatever's true for you. Build it slowly, piece by piece, the same way we built everything today. If that felt comfortable, try building 2 or 3 more, each one about a different part of your day. One about your morning, one about something you're doing right now, one about something you don't usually do. Notice that all 3 come from the exact same 5 small pieces we practiced today. Just rearranged, just filled in differently depending on what's actually true for you. That's the real power hiding underneath everything we covered. You didn't learn 3 separate skills today. You learned one connected structure, flexible enough to describe an enormous range of your actual daily life. If any single step in today's lesson felt slightly unclear, that's completely normal, and here's exactly what to do about it. Go back and watch the lessons from day 1 up until now in order, because each one connects directly to the next. The same way each step inside today's lesson connected to the one before it. Nothing in this series is designed to be understood in isolation. It's designed to build, the same way we just built an entire usable sentence structure, out of 5 small connected steps. And I want you to remember something important as we get further into this series. Once you've gone through all 30 lessons, from day 1 all the way through to the end in order, connected the way we built things today, you will be able to speak English fluently. Not perfectly, nobody speaks any language perfectly, but fluently, confidently, without the freezing, without the fear. The way we've been building, one honest, connected step at a time. Before you go, here's what I'd like from you. In the comments, build your own full sentence using today's 5 pieces: subject, action, object, time. And if you're feeling confident, the negative version too, write it exactly the way you'd say it out loud. I want to see real sentences from real people built the same careful, connected way we just practiced together. And if today's lesson made sense to you, step by step, without any confusing jumps, subscribe so the next lesson in this series finds you without you needing to search for it. You built something real today, one steady piece at a time. Keep building that way, and by the end of this series, you'll be surprised at how far those small connected steps actually carried you. I'll see you in the next lesson.